So just quickly, we want to talk about the different types of marketing that are available, and pretty much consider that this is broken into three groups. It's the traditional, digital, and event marketing for auto. And so we wanted to show how together they all create an omni-channel marketing experience for the consumer, and really neat opportunity for the dealer, but also try to debunk a few myths that might be going on in the industry. The first just being traditional advertising. We hear this as an advertising agency all the time, the traditional is antiquated, it just doesn't work. And so showing this image is just kind of traditional in the rear view. I think Wayne and I are probably on the same page here that that might not be the case, especially for the automotive. And so I wanted to just show you this. Wayne, are you doing much print or newspaper?
We're not, and not until that, you might call it fad, but I think it's secular. I think after a while it'll probably come back as people are be tired of the digital aspect of shopping, and they still like to have that paper in their hand. But today, it's not.
I agree. And so one of the few channels we would say we haven't seen a lot of success is in there, but it does also depend on your market. And so every demographic is going to be different. So it's not something I would simply write off, but I do think we're seeing a lower return for the cost. A couple things that we definitely believe in, and Wayne and I'll just kind of tee these up and have you tell us what you think, but I think the first and foremost, the billboards, we're just not getting away from them. Everywhere you drive throughout every city I've ever been in, there are auto billboards. Why are people choosing to do that still?
Well, you still have to broaden your footprint. Even though that, yes, digital is great, but you have the billboards, people are driving, you are advertising to a very high part of the funnel. I mean, they're just right there at the lip. They're not considering now. With the car industry, understand our purchase is not like it is for the restaurant where you can probably go there once, twice a month. You're going to do this once every 3 to 5 years, this purchase. So it's to keep your name in front of them as much as they possibly can. And now with the way they got digital billboards, it makes it a little bit easier. You can get a little bit fancier about what you can put up there, more eye-catching. So it's there, and you still need to do it. And you won't be able to attribute how you can say, tracking it for return of your investment.
Sure.
It's real hard, but you still have to be there.
And you know, that's an interesting thing you bring up is the billboard companies have obviously identified this. It's one of the more popular counter arguments to why not to use traditional and/or billboards. But the billboard companies are working with other technology providers, and that, you know, ever-present cell phone with its GPS on is helping billboard providers do two things. First off, they're doing a better job of targeting. In the past, billboard targeting was based off of the local area, and so they would basically look at the demographic of the neighborhood and determine that you had a high propensity of purchasers in that neighborhood, and so you should put a billboard nearby that. But as we all know, most of us commute to work. And so we're going from that neighborhood to many different areas of the city, and we might be doing that every single day. So where a billboard's demo might not work, it might actually be getting actual car traffic going by that does fit the demo. And so there are technology providers who are now helping the billboard companies to identify what the demo of the people passing the billboard are, rather than looking at the neighborhoods. And so that's a big game changer. The second is that they can actually start tagging phones and just kind of geoing devices that pass billboards, so that they can determine if they saw a billboard or potentially would have seen a billboard and then are walking into the store. And so we'll talk a little bit more about in-store attribution later, but there are some big changes to billboards that I think are going to help them stay relevant, not to mention the fact that they're just ever present, ever working. And I personally kind of like the exit arrows and things like that. You know, I think that I can see it from afar, and just makes me know, and it gives me the association to the city plus the dealer a little bit. Next is radio and TV. Wayne, how do you use these channels, if you do at all?
Well, we do. We do some radio and some television. Again, using your money wisely and where the ads are going to be placed. We use cable for our TV, and it seems to do well. Again, we're coming into an age where a lot of people are DVRing, and I do it strictly because I don't want to watch advertisements.
Wayne's young and hip, man.
I just spin right through them and get back to what I was watching. So you have to be kind of careful of that. So we target more news, which you watch, have a little bit more of an attention getter there, and also sports. And of course, you're generally aren't going to record sports as much as you would probably other type of shows. So we're more apt to be seen in that area. And radio, if it's the right market, again, the demographics, if it calls for radio, we'll definitely do it. Especially if you're going to go after different markets like Hispanic market and such. And radio is very, very important to your business.
That's a great point. Talk a little bit about Memorial Day. Would that be a fit for something radio? Would you consider that, or still maybe go more digital with it coming up? Just wondering what your thoughts are.
Well, my thoughts would be I still would go more digital. I think in radio, if you're talking about Memorial Day, I don't think you get a lot of listeners personally. If they're traveling, they're going to be out of your area. If they're short stints, they're probably out in the backyard having a barbecue. So in the radio end, I'd probably go more digital because, again, I'm always looking for the ones that are lower in the funnel and putting more of my efforts there. And radio's a little bit more, again, it's broader, it's higher in the funnel, and you're not going to get the individuals that want to buy right now. They're not going to say, oh, I heard about that, I'm driving over there right now. No, it's more, okay, I remember that. And I'm sure you all have heard some radio and television advertisements that just make you cringe. You still remember them, don't you? Yeah, pretty good marketing, isn't it?
That's fantastic. Talk to us a little bit about print advertising. I know you guys do a bit of that and have actually found some good success in there. What makes it such a positive channel for you?
Now, we speaking things like postcards, print, or...
What kind of print do you do?
Well, for what I do, we do a digital and print advertising through a company that will send out postcards to, again, targeted. They've taken their demographics and they've found out in our area who's in the market for a vehicle, and then they'll send out postcards to them advertising us. And then the same will go out in an email blast that they'll send out to the email to those individuals to target them. So limited in print advertising, that's just about all we end up doing. Might do a newspaper here or there, it kind of depends, but generally we're sold on that because we got a good deal on it for one time, and then we'll do it and see how it works.
You always got to bite on some of those deals.
Yeah.
And kind of more on the advertising agency opinion of that is print advertising definitely had a lull, and because of that, people stopped getting mail, which kind of created a void, kind of to your point earlier, that things are kind of cyclical. And so we would agree that print's a little bit high dollar for the reach that you're getting as compared to the digital channels. But when you have the right, article or the piece that you can get in front of people, making a splash into a mailbox actually could have a good effect. And you still are seeing the events and the promos, the key type things, get your free key and getting them in, and we do see success in those types of things, but they are definitely kind of dying down. You're hearing less and less of that.